Hi, welcome to Beyond the Racing Line, the Formula 1 podcast by fans, for fans. Season 2025 is almost upon us. We're 1 week away, less than 1 week away, to being at Albert Park for the first Grand Prix of the season. My golly, it sounds and feels good to be saying that. I'm joined by Tristan Pocock, who I just put on the spot, my favourite thing to do when we get started. How are you, mate?
Good,
How
mate.
excited are you for season 25?
I'm so excited. We're here. We're not warming up to it. It's race week.
That's right.
It's Monday. It's race week. Thursday morning.
It's media day.
We're ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Raring and ready to go.
On site.
We'll be on site, in the paddock, in the pit lane, anywhere and everywhere possible. So excited, looking forward to that. I guess if you've got questions, we don't do a lot of the podcasts while we're there.
Probably more what I want people to give us is, what insights do you want from our access?
Yeah, flick something through. I might put something up on social media as well. Just something where you can just comment.
Yeah, I'm not doing any shock jock stuff.
Yeah, no, nothing like that.
Any insights? What do you want to see? What do you want to know?
Yeah,
we can take some photos and whatnot, but we can also try and explain it the best we can.
Do you want to know what the F2 paddock looks like? Like, is there someone that you want us to go and find and look out for, or just anything in general? My
golly, I'm so excited. Season 25 is going to be... Well, it's actually F1 75.
75, which is confusing.
It is, because it's 2025.
It's 2025, but 75.
75 years.
It's the 75th year.
So we're gonna get into it, but I'm... my golly, I'm pumped. We're going to do a season preview. We're going to go through all the teams and our expectations of the teams, and then we're going to go through some things that we're looking forward to, and then make some predictions.
Yep.
Before we get into any of that, Sam couldn't be here tonight, our reserve driver, but he did send through an opening question.
Oh, he did?
I tell you, he's earning his stripes, that boy.
He is, isn't he?
Yep. We miss you, Sam. Enjoy work. His opening question: when the lights go out in Australia, what food drink would you want your hands to be opening or on for that new race? Okay, so Paige and he will be having barbecue pork ribs and lamb ribs at home is what he's planning.
Oh, okay.
Sam's not there this year. So, so from home, that's what he's going to be doing. Now, I'm going to bring in a new thing for us, Tristan.
Yep.
We're going to endeavour.
This is your thing.
Yes, we're going to endeavour to... I reckon I'll try that. If you can hear that, that's a can opening. And we're going to endeavour to try a drink from the country that we've just raced in. Now, this is obviously a pre-drink, and I've only got the one. So we're going to try and do a little pre-drink.
Okay. And what's this called?
This beer in particular, and the reason I've chosen this one is because it's called Traveller. It's called Australian Lager.
It's got kangaroo on it.
Full strength. Low carb, but it's an Australian beer. Now, I have actually got a VB in there, which would probably be a little more Australian.
I'm kind of glad that you didn't choose that. My brother,
I can't stand it. But
my brother will drink those religiously on Christmas. Yeah. Christmas Day just turns up with 6 of them. I'm like, all right, that's fine. No,
so this is cheers to the season.
Cheers.
I hope everyone's enjoying a drink, unless it's early morning.
Which it could be for some people.
It will be.
Maybe some people will have one early morning.
Now, this is actually our work is doing a hopathon sort of thing, which is it's a beer competition. You supply a beer and everyone supplies a beer and you take home a bunch of beers, and this is one of the beers in it.
This is one of the ones you took home.
And you got to rate them.
Okay.
What would you rate that?
I don't know, like not a massive
very non-offensive.
Not a beer drink.
No, you're not.
No, which I would tell.
So I'm going to try and stay away from just beers if I can.
Good. I was going to say it's all right. Like, it's not. Yeah, it's not hyper aggressive, is it?
No.
I give it like a 6. Like, that's okay. Like, I could drink that whole can.
Yeah.
I love cider for people who...
You're usually having a cider. So 6, that's about a 3 in our rating scale. For we're out of 5 stars.
Oh, okay.
I tend to agree with you.
I'll give it a 3 then. I thought I'm used to rating out of a 10. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not a big fan of it.
You're not a big fan of it?
I could probably drink it. It's not offensive.
Would you like something like heavier, like something lighter?
Something tastier.
See, for me...
It's very flavourless.
Beer, just all beer tastes the same for me. You could have not put a can in front of me. I couldn't tell you what that was.
I could go and get another one and you'd be definitely able to taste the difference. Anyway, let's get back to Sam's.
Okay, sorry.
What's she go to? We've had this question a couple of times, but I like it. I like hearing that he's going ribs. That's good.
It depends... I'm just trying to think where we'll actually be watching it. So
quite well for this one. It's probably a little bit different, isn't it?
For this one, I'm just thinking I'll probably have a media centre sandwich in my hand.
Yeah, yes, and that's the media centre sandwiches that are so-so.
Or a Lavazza, like the Lavazza coffee van, which you love.
The coffee
you love
is
being
great.
There. Yeah, see, I'd argue differ that I think it's actually pretty not great.
No, I quite like the coffee.
You do like it. Every opportunity that you get to get a free Lavazza. Is it Lavazza? I can't remember. It was Lavazza last year, I'm pretty sure it was. Every opportunity you get to get a free one, you're there.
No,
it's your second favourite place to be. It is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'll probably have 2 or 3 a day.
Yes.
Probably.
Dude, that's a lot. I have 1 a day.
Do you?
Yeah.
I'll already have one. No, I'll already have one. I'll probably have 2 more for the day.
Unless I have one at night when we're doing an episode, which if I know that we've got a big episode coming up, I'll arrive with a coffee. Because I feel like I need to be on high alert.
What else are you looking forward to in terms of being there?
Let's
get into a few of these. Now it started.
Just like that first...
Oh, it's a magic moment.
Of the gate.
Magic moment.
That's for people playing along. That's a sound.
You watch Netflix
gates,
and you hear the sound.
Yeah, the gates.
Sparks, yep.
I'm really like just that sound. I love that. I love seeing the gates too when we're walking in.
Driving down the driver's walk. Walking down the driver's walk.
I kind of like you. You're very much like a middle of the lane walker. I like to just sneak around the back.
I just like to get a bit of footage.
You do.
I just love a bit of footage.
Yeah, I think just that first it's that first swipe of the card as we enter the paddock. I'm really looking forward to that. Just in general, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to the show and tell, which it was dubbed show and tell a couple of years ago. Do you remember when it first came out? That I think was the Thursday morning. You're required to have a chassis out for media purposes. Mm-hmm. At least one chassis. So I just assume that's going ahead.
No, it's still a thing. Yes, it was definitely there. So the one thing they're allowed to do, they're allowed to do pit stop practice during that time.
Yeah. So probably just the show and tell. I'm looking forward to that. Just as kind of what it was dubbed. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'm just trying to think what else am I really excited for. Like just lots of things in general. Looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to being... I wouldn't mind having a look at that after dark. You know, like that accessibility pit walk? Like, we can do that.
I think...
I don't know if we have our accreditation passes with that. But
Thursday night?
Yeah, it's something like that. It's a late one. So, like, that would be... I've always wanted to have a look at that. Like, that's something different, just to see it on the light. I love listening to the Red Bull shed with just their music
tunes
going all the time.
There's a bit of a tune off, isn't there?
There's a real party atmosphere. I was listening to... What was I listening to? I was listening to a podcast with... Oh, I can't remember who was on it, but it was someone from Red Bull that was on it. It was one of the high performance ones. And they were talking about like they have the aggressive music going as a bit of a strategy to minimise, to actually help people focus on their tasks. So because it's so loud, you can't hear each other and communicate just verbally with people next to you. It focuses you on, I'm just doing this job at hand because the music's on, so I can't talk to anyone. And it's like a way that they get the car together and you do just your job. I really like that. It was really insightful. So I'm looking forward to that too. I like the F2 paddock, which like we can kind of wander down to and see, which everyone can. Like there's nothing special with that one. But I really do just enjoy seeing the F2 categories in particular and just their setup as well. I'm looking forward to that. What's something else? What else? What are you
getting around track? Seeing the cars out on track.
Yeah.
We quite often go around across the bridge, across the lake.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind trying to get down towards like the swimming pool area.
We could do a lap this year.
So yeah, for a practice session, I feel like I might go for a walk.
I think
for the practice session.
I'll bring my runners for one of the days, and then I think like that'd be good if we do. Like let's do just a lap of the track. Let's just walk
for a practice session, just to see the different braking points.
Maybe practice one.
The launch.
Maybe practice one. We could just walk the entirety of Albert Park for the whole practice session.
So yeah. But it's just so wonderful. I'm just so excited about this season. I feel like it's just going to be.
Because that was one of the things I really liked last year. Remember last year we ducked out of the paddock and the media centre and we went and stood on the straight before Lakeside.
Probably somewhere we weren't supposed to be in hindsight. I think we're in amongst some catering people at that point. But
no. When we left, left the paddock and we went out. We were on Lakeside.
Yes, yeah.
And like as silly as it sounds, like that was one of my favourite things to do because we are very, very fortunate to be where we are. In the Australian Grand Prix weekend, the Louis Vuitton Grand Prix weekend. But going out and just stand like, God, I haven't been there for years.
Yep.
Which is where I was.
The one thing about our access is that there's terrible viewing.
Yeah,
spaces
for races
of the Grand Prix.
Yeah, absolutely.
We watched from the media centre last year, and it was actually really fun last year.
I didn't mind that because we were just hovering above
but
pit lane.
There was more atmosphere there last year than there usually is. I'll sort of pop in there for different times.
Yeah.
Whereas there was a bit going on with the race, and Max wasn't winning for the first time of the year.
Yep.
And so it was really fun. And then you sort of get the inside of the podium coming in. But Let's get into each team.
Okay.
We'll bring in a little bit of testing.
Okay.
And a little bit of where you think they're going to be.
All right,
we're going to do it in alphabetical order, which is very unusual for us.
That's not like you, is
it? So we're going to start with Alpine. Alpine running Pierre Gasly and Jack Doohan.
Yep.
Testing looked good. So they're a team that last year started the year in no man's land, really in no man's land. Got their act together really quickly, and by mid-year, they were competitive. And then by the end of the year, they were the best of the rest, fairly clearly in the end. They seem to have picked up where they took off.
Yep.
Testing looked pretty decent.
Yeah.
I mean, let's start with the caveat of testing. You can't read into testing too much.
No.
You're looking for cars looking settled. You're looking for race runs, but you still can't really read into all of that.
So
when we talk about testing, we know it is not the be-all and end-all,
but
it's the signs that are coming through.
Yeah, and look, like with Alpine, I mean, you can sandbag to look a little bit slower, which is easy to do, but you can't step out there and look quicker than you are.
No,
it's not possible. If you're looking at just comparison, the 2024 best quality lap times, right, for the Alpine.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking on average 90 seconds, and then 90.7, 90.8. And then if you're looking at that in comparison to what they did in testing, and 90.0, which is around Bahrain.
Yep.
So that's a dramatic increase. Yeah. So that's sort of.
I'm still. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they actually showed a quality run in the end either.
I mean, that's and that's a significant increase from where they were. But it's. I think in terms of the pecking order for them, it'll depend on more what everyone else is doing. Because, I mean, you could say for all intensive purposes they'd be about 5th fastest overall. But then that'll depend on what everyone else is doing. But still, that's a pretty significant upgrade there.
Where are you going to have them in the order? I'm going to ask for a prediction as we go.
Oh, gosh, this is hard rather than just saying prediction. With your best single... I don't know, 2, 4, 6. Let's go. Let's go 8.
8?
No, where I'm thinking. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, because there's 10 teams, isn't there?
There is 10 teams.
Yeah, 7th, 8th.
Wow.
7th, 8th. Yeah, maybe.
I've got them 5th. I've got them best of the rest.
No.
I'm interested to see where you're going to have.
Right.
Who's going to have best of the rest then?
7th, I reckon. Yeah. I'll say 8th. Yeah, I'll say 7th.
Okay.
7th. I'll put them 7th.
Okay. Alpine. Yeah, I've got them 5th.
Okay.
Best of the rest. Yeah, I think they'll be. They look on track at the moment. I think probably the chance is that Doohan doesn't fire, and you're losing points there.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that the replacement's going to be any more qualified in this car, and so it's well and good for them to be talking up right, we've got a replacement ready to go.
Yeah,
that costs you That's cost you positions. The switch between drivers as Doohan's coming alive and learning the car and getting better and better.
Yeah,
you've got to go and do all of that again. When if the replacement of Bortoletto, if Bortoletto comes in, you've got to go and do all that again. So that'll be the only reason why Alpine can't hold 5th. But Gasly last year was on fire. He's a quality driver.
Yeah,
I think Doohan's going to get it together. I was relatively impressed with where his testing was at. They weren't looking for absolutely mind-boggling numbers. Alpine I'm impressed with. They're the best of the rest for me. I liked them. Aston Martin, we're running with Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso again.
Jeez, Aston. They're their testing wasn't great.
It was horrendous.
Comparison to others.
It was horrendous.
And
Let's not talk great.
I feel like that they are just waiting for Newey to just do his thing. So while testing wasn't great, and their lap times, again, comparison, so quality lap time versus best test time, last year they did an 89.5. This year did a 90.2, which is bad. That's a bad comparison. Really bad. But, yeah, I don't know, you'd have to say 8. Like, they'll definitely be behind the Alpine. Definitely be behind the Alpine.
Is it 8th or 9th is the big question for me.
It'd have to be 9th, but...
9th?
Yeah, it'd have to be 9th at the moment, but I would not be surprised if mid-year they're like 5th. That they kind of do what Alpine did last year, this year. That they just have, bits and pieces there.
Yep.
Maybe we'll know mid-year.
I'm with you. I feel like they've just gone into this holding pattern. I was worried Williams was going to do this.
Yeah.
And go into this holding pattern for 26, and I feel like...
But they probably have.
I know, I understand that, but I feel like this is just like no understanding of all sorts of things. And there's a real worry there that they're going to lose momentum. Now, Newey has started now. I'm sure he's been doing work behind the scenes. But it's different doing work behind the scenes. You can't work with the people around you, find out more about things. Yeah. And so I think, for me, they look the concerning team. I can't decide whether they're 8th or 9th as well.
I reckon, what did I say?
You said 9th.
I said 9th, but... I mean, funnier things that happen.
I couldn't agree more.
And I think if they are in a holding pattern, it makes perfect sense to me. Like, they finished 5th last year with 94 points. They're not going to win the world title with the drivers at the moment, with the chassis that they have. They're not in contention for constructors at all, even as best of the rest. They were still a mile off. Mercedes were 4th with 468 points, and they were 5th with 94. So the gap is daylight plus a little bit more. So, for me, it really makes sense to do nothing this year. As painful as that will be to watch, it really does. You've got Newey.
It's dangerous. It's dangerous territory, though, falling into that. We're not going to do anything.
But that sort of makes sense. Like, if I look at Sauber, it makes sense. If I look at Aston, it makes sense. If I look at RB Honda as well, it kind of makes sense to do nothing for those three in particular. So I'm all right with that too. But like I said, it would be painful to watch. But I'm fully comfortable with it because I know
you're not deep down.
No, I kind of am because I know that the future with Newey is super
does Fernando
bright.
Alonso see that season out?
Yeah. Yep.
We've seen Fernando Alonso in seasons like that before. I refuse to believe that Fernando Alonso would willingly go into a season like that.
No, I think because he knows... the difference here with the McLaren days is he knows Newey's there and he knows the infrastructure is there, so there is light at the end of the tunnel that he can already see. Whereas in the McLaren days, the Honda package was really, really poor and there was no light at the end of the tunnel. So it made sense to jump ship there because you didn't know what direction that was going to go. So he'd be confident. You would be confident as a driver going, geez, this is going to suck, but in 24 rounds' time, I can see where the potential is going to be. So I'm just going to stick fat with this one. And he's a seasoned campaigner to know that too.
Okay.
That's just,
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
As I said, painful to watch.
Very painful to
watch.
Very
painful to watch. I hate every minute of it.
Yeah. Ferrari. Let's go on to Ferrari. I don't think I've got anything else to add to them. For Aston Martin, it's a concern. You can't let these seasons happen.
Yep.
For morale, for performance-wise, like winning is a learnt skill, and if you go into a season thinking that you can't be successful, it's a worry. I feel like maybe they haven't shown their hand in testing. So
maybe.
So I'm putting them into 8th.
Okay.
And I'm with you. Maybe they're going to be more competitive than we imagined.
Yep.
And so it wouldn't surprise me for them to be best of the rest.
Okay.
But they should be pushing the top 4.
Okay.
That's where they should be.
Yep.
But yeah, so no, I'm with you. Ferrari. So
Ferrari.
We're Charles Leclerc.
Yep.
And a guy known, what's his name? Sir Lewis Hamilton?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Have you noticed that he's driving for Ferrari this year?
I have. Yep.
You seen it in social somewhere?
Yeah, I saw it a few times kicking around.
It is. It's just so good for Formula One.
It is, isn't it?
Carlos Sainz is, and I don't use this word very often, and it's not actually true. It's not unlucky, but he is one of the more unfortunate people in the world because he was doing a pretty good job at this team.
Yeah.
The team were doing really well with these two drivers, but the force of nature, which is Lewis Hamilton, coming to Ferrari is just so good for the sport. I know so many people that don't want to see him win the World Championship, and I couldn't care less if he wins it or not. The story is really interesting. The story is really interesting if he doesn't win it. The story is fascinating if he wins a World Championship with them.
Absolutely.
It is just great for the sport. I'm so looking forward to seeing how this unfolds. And the extra little part with this is that we've got Charles Leclerc, who is an incredibly quick driver, sitting in alongside him, and he is not going to be willing to hand anything over.
No.
He is primed for this season. I feel like he's really set himself for this season, and I can't wait to watch this battle. Thoughts on Ferrari? Where are they going to? Where's the season going to be?
First.
Oh, you've got them. You've got them world champions.
Yep.
Really? Tell me more. What have you seen?
So the upgraded package, I think, first and foremost with testing, definitely sandbagging. There's a lot more there to give.
Oh, yeah.
And makes perfect sense.
I think the top four were sandbagging.
I think so too. A couple of different changes from last year to this year. They've gone with a pull rod suspension instead of a push rod suspension.
Yep.
So lighter, lower center of gravity, as opposed to just the easier access for mechanics with a push rod. So things like that, new spoon shape on the rear wing as well, and the V-ducts on the back of the actual engine cover, where they've almost completely removed the shark fin, if you have a look, and they've got what is known as a V-duct, which cuts straight in the top, which allows for better cooling out there. I think the aero package is much more efficient than last year. You've got the addition of Lewis, you've got the motivation that will spur on with Charles, and I think that it's time. It's just time. You got the loss of last year and missing out on it, and
So you've got them as world champions.
Yep, as constructors.
I don't want to know which driver you think will be ahead. We'll do that later.
Okay.
Well, that's a teaser.
Okay.
I'm with you. I think
it's first.
They're showing less at testing than what they will bring.
Yep.
I think everyone's in that boat though. And the McLaren looked on track to be really settled. Their race runs consistently were a fair way ahead. Consistently. Sometimes, you see like an outstanding race run. You're like, oh, that's a little sign. But I think, but for me, I'm with you. I've got them second.
Okay.
I've got them second.
You've got them second.
But I think it's going to be an incredibly close season. Yeah. And it could be down to a DNF here or there. And, it's on. It's so exciting to see.
Yep.
Are you looking forward to the Hamilton year?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah.
Like in the past couple of years, could you care less about Hamilton?
No,
not really.
No,
and that's nothing against him.
No, that's just how
it's been a boring scenario. Him not really being at the top of his game in a Mercedes, whereas this is completely different. I love everything about it. I think it is just brilliant, great for the sport.
Yep.
Next team, Haas.
Now that's my best of the rest. That's fifth for
really?
Me. Yeah. That's fifth for me.
They're my great unknown at the moment.
I just think there is, for them, there's no cliff to fall off here where they were the surprise package last year. Yes, they finished seventh, which is fine because Alpine got it together and Aston started a lot better than what they were. But when you look at their driver lineup and the development, the progress that began last year, you can only build on that rather than drop off for a team like Haas. And then the technical investment with Toyota as well, will just take another step forward.
Yep.
Being that it was a first for everything last year, and they surprised all of it. So for me, it's nothing but upside here, and it's fifth for me for Haas because they will have seen the moves that they've made, the changes that they've made within the team. the technical direction that they've taken as well with the chassis, and then all of that is just going to snowball on again. So it's all momentum building and Haas.
Quality drivers. Behrman is
Behrman and Ocon
is a
will
quality
do well.
rookie.
They'll miss Hull. They will. But that will be easily covered. Between the two of them, it will be covered.
See, I feel like the Hulkenberg will be the difference. Ocon has yet to lead a team, and this is his real time to lead a team. He's always been an equal at every team he goes to. He's always been an equal.
Yep.
And this is his chance to really lead a team. I'm not seeing anything that tells me he's up for that job, but he hasn't ever had that opportunity, and so maybe he will really step up.
See, I would look at it the other way and think between the two of them that there's no one that I'm sort of pigeonholing going, you're leading and you're not leading, even if it's Behrman. I would just, for me, both of them are just, you're there, and we'll get halfway through the season, and we'll see who starts creeping forward, and then we'll start to back you a little bit more. But I would be betting most of what I have that there won't be a number one driver.
They're fifth on your list, is that right?
Yeah, fifth for me.
Wow.
Where are you putting them?
I've got them seventh.
Okay.
And I was the last, them and RB, I'm not real sure about. But so no, I've got them seventh, which isn't a long way off where you are.
Yeah.
I think like what the progress they made last year with new leadership, I felt like was huge, really good for the team. However, the Hulkenberg thing, I think a lot was down to Hulkenberg. I think Hulkenberg was probably underrated in that situation. I'm yet to be as convinced about Ocon. And Behrman, you've got to give him a little bit of leniency. He's not developing a car as a rookie. And so I think that would be... that's my little wonder.
Sure.
There. But yeah, I'll be interested because, they're one I'm really unsure about. Kick Sauber, being ran by my man Hulkenberg, who I'm jumping on.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm not jumping on, but Hulkenberg he's made the future move, hasn't he? It's a move for the future.
Yeah.
Bortoletto's come on board. Quality driver again, real quality driver. One thing about the rookies this year. Yeah. They're all quality. They've all got something behind them. There's no pay drivers coming in. Well, they're all pay drivers, let's be honest. They've all bought sponsors, but they're not. There's no one that's just relying on the pay driver like a Nicholas Latifi or a Stroll or anything like that. Or a Zhou. Yeah. Hulkenberg, Bortoletto, the blast. They're in all sorts of weird pain. They don't really understand this car. They're all about 26. I have huge concerns about that as well because, like I said before, being successful is a learnt skill. It's not just something you can pick up and do overnight. We'll wait and see. What do you? Anything else to add for him?
No.
Kick. We can agree on one. I think it's the first one we agreed on. McLaren, Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris.
Second.
Tell me more about
Second
them.
For me.
You like what you see?
Yeah, like what I see. The long run pace was exceptional in testing. The long run was not the overall, single lap.
Never really went for a proper single lap. No. Let's show our cards.
Tyre deg, very, very, very minimal. So that will set them in good stead. I mean, the race pace was worse on Piastri. The race sim, the deg on the race sim on the third day was probably worse for Piastri, and it was kind of matched by...
Is that a Piastri thing, though?
It could. That's the kind of thing I'm thinking.
That's still a Piastri... Is that still a Piastri trait?
Yeah. Day 2 was better in Norris's hands. They had quite a large stint of about 10 to 15 laps on the C2s, I think they were, which was really quick. It was about a second. It was about half a second quicker than Leclerc and Antonelli combined. So reigning
world champions.
Yep.
They've learnt a lot. I feel like this team has shut up the ranks. They hovered there. They were competitive, and then they went and become the big boys. And they grew up in a season. They didn't quite get the drivers chase right, but I tell you, the two drivers got it together nicely.
And that's where I kind of feel the focus this year could be. Let's just keep doing what we're doing constructor-wise, but let's ramp up world champion driver sort of look. So, second for me. What did you say, sorry?
They're my world champions.
Okay, there you go.
Yep. I'm backing them in.
Cool.
Nothing has told me that they're going to drop away.
Sure.
For me, Oscar Piastri has to make those small improvements.
Sure. And he will.
And I'm sure he will.
And he will.
Yeah, yep. The Piastri Norris lineup, is it harder enough to take on the Hamilton Leclerc lineup? That's still a little bit of an unknown. But I feel like they're just going to be so much better for being there last year in amongst it. So I think they're ready to go. So
sounds good.
Yeah, no, I'm all for them. I think they're looking really strong. And hey, we might have an Australian win the Australian Grand Prix.
We could.
Did I say that out loud?
Yes, you did.
Probably shouldn't have done it, should I?
I'm okay with that, though.
Okay. All right, we're going with confidence, are we, this year?
We are going with confidence.
We don't do that
year.
usually.
No.
Okay. All right. I'm glad I'm on board. Mercedes, George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Andrea Kimi Antonelli, in actual fact. But yes, you don't hear that part too often.
No.
Looking good.
I'm still going to say...
Yeah, you're not convinced.
Yeah.
And I don't trust them either yet.
I'm still going to say fourth.
Okay.
Yeah, not by much though. It could be fourth by a point.
Yes.
Like that kind of fourth.
Everything I've seen, them and Ferrari are on par. But I'm with you. I don't quite trust them, and I think that rookie driver is their weak link. And I'm not convinced that George can be consistently the points grabber.
Yeah, for me it's more like that consistent hit between drivers and then as individuals. So I think the package will be strong.
Yep.
Wouldn't say it's going to be blisteringly strong. I think like Ferrari and McLaren, I think package-wise are on the next level. And then they have the quality drivers to support that. So neither of those things are a concern. Where Mercedes' package will be excellent, but it said driver consistency, which is the question mark.
My one query with the package is they were very track dependent last year.
Yeah.
And so is that going to be the case again this year? But I mean, what we see now will be so different by mid-season.
Oh, absolutely.
You think about the changes that happened last year.
Yeah.
It's like Red Bull were off and running, and it looked like Ferrari were the only challengers last year, and then McLaren were the ones that came through. So what we see now is not necessarily what you got. But yeah, I'm just not quite convinced by Mercedes in terms of putting them above Ferrari, but I'm backing them. I've got them for third in the championship. I'm going to back him in against Red Bull because I think Red Bull's got Verstappen. I don't think they quite got the package yet.
Okay, fair.
And Lawson, I'm not convinced about, unfortunately. Racing Bulls, the next up.
Oh. Racing Bulls. Who did I have in? What did I had? 8th to 9th.
You've got 8th available at the lowest.
8th available, yeah.
Or 6th, I think, is you've got available at the moment. We've still got Red Bull and Williams to come.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna.
Do you rate these guys or Williams higher is where you got to go?
I'm gonna go with RB. What did I say? I got 6 left. So I've got 6.
6 or 8.
6 or 8. Yeah, I'm gonna put him in 6.
Okay.
They look so. Looking at their chassis, almost a mirror this year of the RB20 in every single way, shape, and form. And that was our early prediction last year, is that we thought the RB was going to come on and it was going to be the RB19, and that was just exactly what we were going to get. But they, and like most people did. But then we got some pretty big deficiencies in all areas and differences between what we saw with the RB19. But then looking closely at this, you got the rear engine cover, which almost mirrors early season to RB20. You've got the front wing that exactly mirrors it too. You've got the side pod inlets that also mirror it as well, and the underfloor as well. That all mirrors exactly what the RB20 has. So I think they've done what we all predicted they were going to do last year, albeit a year too late. So I'm going to say 6th.
Okay.
I'm going to say 6th. I'm just going to hang my hat on them just one more year.
So inconsistent.
Yeah.
Weren't they last year?
Yeah.
But I mean, all that driver change didn't help anything, did it?
And that's it. Like there was a lot of that speculation as to who's even driving the bloody thing. So I think that will be that'll be where they are. They've got Yuki with a point to prove now. Suddenly, Like, he really does.
What's his point to prove?
Well, just that you should.
He's got nothing to prove.
But it's almost like, I'm going to just really stick it up here and show you.
Is that
you should have. Yeah, I think so. You've shown me that you should have chosen me. He's had a contract at the end of the year.
Yeah, I said this
right?
is his last year.
So then it's also that he's sort of showing Red Bull that, you should have picked me. But then he's also on show for possibly a future seat later on down the track, wherever that may be. Because there's like 8 seats available as well next year or something ridiculous like that. So he'll be out to prove a point. Hadjar, first season, I think he's a little bit of a sneaky competitive beast.
Times are good in comparison.
Yeah. And he's F2, like he almost won the title in F2 but didn't. So... yeah, I think he'll be one of he could almost be the best of the rookies, possibly, maybe. Could be like the highest ranked rookie at the end of the season. But, in saying that, I wouldn't be surprised if I sit here in the final episode and they're second last. It wouldn't surprise me.
I've got him 7th.
Okay.
You're 6th.
Yep.
I'm 7th.
Okay.
Not worlds apart.
Yep.
Hadjar... they're very happy with Hadjar.
Yep.
The team's very happy with where he's at.
Yep.
I think my concerns around Yuki Tsunoda. I think if Yuki Tsunoda's getting done by Hadjar, we could see an implosion of the man. I'm still not convinced by his temperament, but I'm with you. He's got a show. I mean, there's a brand new team, 2 new race seats going to be available next year. I can't see him.
Race seats?
I can't see him going anywhere else.
No, neither can I.
I'm not sure where else he might go. Possibly to go and join Kick Sauber. That wouldn't blow my mind if that's where he ended up. But yeah.
you'd have 2 seasons there.
Yep. But yeah, so anyway, it'll be one to watch. But they're my unknowns. I'm not quite convinced that they're making the steps that everyone else is.
Yep.
For me, the question is who steps into 26 first out of all this crew, and they're probably all going to go together. The bottom of this list, is, unless someone starts really well. And they might see it through a little bit longer.
Yep.
I feel like there's probably 4 teams that are all going to step into the 26 mode.
Yep.
All together, and I think that's about round 5, round 6.
Yeah.
Maybe after the regulation changes of round 8, but yeah.
Yep.
Red Bull, moving on to Red Bull, Verstappen and Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson's probably the most fortunate man getting around Formula 1 at the moment in terms of landing himself in a very competitive car.
Yep.
I haven't... Their testing was very un-Red Bull-like.
Yeah.
They were chasing just a decent setup.
Yeah.
All the time, and they were making big, dramatic changes.
And that tells me that car is already on a knife edge.
Yes.
And it just has, again, that really finite operating window that they've all had in the past.
And they're desperate to get something different for Liam to help drive that team along.
Yep.
The one thing that Red Bull have that no one else has
is Max.
Yeah. And they're like, Max will make that difference.
He'll find it. He'll find that operating window.
He made that difference over and over and over last year. If he wasn't winning, he was just not losing heaps of points. I think his job's going to be harder because I think the rest of the field around him is going to be stronger.
Yep.
But it's still worth a lot, though, isn't it? I think he was coming in 2nd or 3rd a lot last year.
Yeah.
Towards the second half of last year, I should say. I think that moves back to 4th or 5th a bit. Not all the time. I think he'll still be winning races 2nd and 3rd. Yeah. But I think we'll see a couple more of the 4th and 5ths just because everyone else has improved. But the Max factor cannot be underestimated.
Yeah. Oh, couldn't agree more.
Yep. He's going to Aston Martin by the end of the year too, by the way.
Oh, is he?
He absolutely is, which is another reason why Aston Martin just cannot possibly afford to have a dud season because they'll lose that ability. Williams, where do you have him? I was going to say the option was 8th or 3rd. You've gone with your 3rd.
Yep.
Okay. All right, Williams, Carlos Sainz, Alex Albon. Nice little driver lineup. Nicest guys on the grid?
Yeah, I get yeah.
I think they're the nicest guys on the grid, aren't they?
Don't get your far being nice in Formula 1.
No. Couldn't care less about being nice in Formula 1. But if you're going to go out for dinner with a pair of these racing drivers for having a nice time, a good time out.
If you're going out for tea and then you're leaving your wallet behind, there's a massive chance that they'll just pick it up and won't call you in the morning and say, hey, you owe me $25 or something like that.
Good guys, aren't they?
Yeah, lovely.
There'll be more interesting teas, I think. But yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. More interesting teas.
Williams were nearly...
It'd be like having tea with your mum.
They were nearly the class of testing. Now, don't interrupt me.
Okay.
They were nearly the class of testing.
Sure.
And that means, fuck all, I know that. However, when you've been the Williams that you've been over the last 6-7 years of testing, it means a hell of a lot to that team that they could successfully go to testing. They had a car there the whole time. There were no crazy embarrassing breakdowns. They weren't million miles off the pace. They were driving around competitively. They made all the right moves that they need to make to be successful in 26. Notice I didn't say 25?
Yep.
I think they're going to go well in 25, but I think, like, everyone's like, oh, they're looking good for 25. I think they'll drop off where they are at the moment. Lots of people have them the best of the rest.
Yep.
I've got them 6th, but I think that's probably still generous. I think it's still generous because I think it's still all about getting those systems in place for 26 when they're going to go and attack it. And James Vowles has openly said, we're all about 26. So I think we'll see a good start to the season, and then I think we'll actually see them drop off. I'm going to put them in 6th, but I'm not sure I completely believe they're 6th. You've got them in 8th.
Yep.
And I think that's probably the right spot.
Yep.
7th or 8th, I think, is probably the right spot. But I just liked what I saw compared to the Williams we've seen over the years at testing.
Yep.
Anything to
add? Just could not disagree with you more on every single one of those points with Williams.
What, do you think their testing over the years has been wonderful?
They will make a minuscule improvement within the team, which will translate to nothing on track. And they're still so far back. The science factor is not enough.
Which part? Hang on.
Enough.
What signals have you seen that they're still so far back?
Because they are so far back. Their infrastructure. Race runs aren't. But this is for me why
I'm not talking
testing.
about
times. I'll tell you why testing looks so good. Testing looks so good because they went all guns blazing. Because they have got Carlos Sainz that they are desperate to say, you've made your choice. Thank you for making your choice. I am just going to pump you full of hope and fulfillment of what the future looks like. And they'll probably be okay in 26. Like, we don't know what 26 is going to look like. But testing was all about, let's just make Carlos feel great.
You can't make a car settle on track.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like they went all guns blazing. They were full tilt in testing. Like, this is our package 100%. Nobody else was. So that's why it looked so good for testing. It really did for me. No sandbagging. It was full setup. It was full race runs. It was high speed. This is what we're doing in round 1 at Melbourne. Everyone else was doing their program and sandbagging and covering things left, right and centre. So that's why Williams looked great. They got to make Carlos looks like he's made the right choice, which, I mean, for all intensive purposes, he probably has for the short term, but long term, no. And then they've got a brand new title sponsor as well, so they probably want their title sponsors out on track going, look at us, we're good, and they'll be like, oh, yes, we're out, we invested in here. But at the end of the day, when the season starts, when it matters, they're so far back that it is not enough time, and that's not enough to have made the gap that they had last year, even on RB. It's just, the bridge is too far for them to gap that to even be remotely anything more competitive than 8th. And that'll be 8th by not much either.
I'll be interested to see.
It'll
be really interesting to see.
Yeah, it's just there's too much to do.
Could you not have been impressed by the fact that they got it together?
No, there's just
so far.
Like, they got it together, but there's just much still to do. I think you've forgotten
how bad their testing history has been.
I know how bad their testing history has been, but then I also know that the infrastructure back at the factory is not even remotely close to where it should be. And there's so many of those factors off track that make it near on impossible to get any further up to speed than what they are. And I think a little bit of us as fans have been deceived by the smoke and mirrors that are the media and Carlos Sainz. Like, if we're sitting here and Sainz doesn't sign to Williams, you're probably not as invested or interested or keen to see what they're doing. And that they could do the exact same thing they've done in testing last week, but just with another driver, and you're probably thinking, they're not doing much. So I just think science.
Do you really think all these track gurus who study times and know how cars should look on track and are watching all those indicators? Do you think they've all got it so far wrong?
Yeah,
because you have got a hunch.
I just feel like that there's a
the
lot
feel,
of romance there that
you're working off a feel.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I think
the track watchers saw it on track. They saw the car settled.
Everyone around them was doing the bare minimum, and they were hiding what they had. So yes, the Williams were doing exactly what they have, and that is 100% accurate to Williams and their package and what they're bringing in, a technical and aero and chassis and raw speed. It's all there. That is their maximum. But then when you look at Ferrari, you probably saw 50%. You probably saw 50% of McLaren. You saw about 20% of Red Bull, and you probably saw about 50% of Mercedes. Even Alpine would have been doing less. Haas did nothing, but they will come out in Melbourne and blitz it. Haas did the most quiet and low-key test of anything.
I love their mantra around it. It's like, I don't need to know how fast I am.
No, I'm just going to check that everything works.
I need to know everything else is going on.
And that's why.
I do like that
It's
answer.
all of that around it that we haven't seen everyone else full noise yet, which makes Williams look so much better than where they really are.
No, I think they've turned things around, not to the point where they're flying.
No, I don't think so either.
I think from 5th down, probably 6th down, is really close, and it is all going to depend on how they start the season.
Yep.
Because they're all going to jump off and go to 26 real quick. And there'll be times where they've just got to keep things going in case we can nick a point here or there.
Yeah.
But in saying that, everyone's going to be in that boat, so they're still going to be racing the hell out of this year. What you start with is going to be so important this year.
Yep.
And I feel like they've just started really nicely. I think the James Vowles effect is starting to really come through.
Yep.
And there's no way he was going to let it continue on the way it is. And so, I'm buoyed by them. I'm with you 100%.
But also not.
And that's really, like, I can see where you're coming from on that, but I've seen the changes required, and there's enough smart people at the track that saw some genuine, decent performance in there, and I think genuine, decent performance is going to be really important this year.
And that is where they are, but everyone else is hiding what they've got.
Yeah, I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced everyone's hiding. I'm with you on Haas. I like their answer.
They just do their thing.
Yep. So, to do a little run through, Tristan's was Ferrari, McLaren, Red Bull, Mercedes, Haas, RB, Alpine, Williams, Aston Martin, and Kick Sauber. There's one that we agree on, and that's Kick Sauber. Mine's, but we're not far off on anyone.
I'd be disappointed if they were all the same, though.
Mine's McLaren, Ferrari, Mercedes, Red Bull. So just slight changes, but the top four's all the same.
Yep.
I've got Alpine at 5th. Actually, that's a fair difference for us. Your Alpine and my Alpine. I've got Alpine at 5th. Williams at 6th. RB, Aston Martin, Haas, and Kick. I've got Haas second last. No, I haven't. Sorry. Williams, Haas, Aston Martin, RB, and Kick. Okay. I should really have Aston Martin lower, but anyway.
You should put this up somewhere.
I will.
Here in the studio,
I've got it here.
And then, like, round by round,
we can give ourselves a little bit of an indicator.
Let's see how we're going around. That'd be fun.
Like
tick it off. Do you have a whiteboard? I feel like you have a whiteboard in here. It looks like a type of place that you should or you would have a whiteboard.
I do not, but I'll get one. No, I'll print it off. We'll be able to see it. But the problem with whiteboard is I've got a 6-year-old that will come in and rub it off and draw me a picture.
See, that's where you get a second whiteboard, and you put down the other
dummy
side of the
one.
studio.
Yeah, no.
This is the
Marlo likes hanging out by the microphone.
This is a scribble whiteboard.
No, that would require real training. So yeah, right. It's radio. Let's get into a few other bits and pieces. What are you really looking forward to this year? So we've gone through each team. What are you really looking forward to this year for Formula One?
I think I'm probably more excited to see what the development towards 26 is going to be looking like, to be quite honest. I think we're in for a great year, but I've kind of got one eye on next year because it's so important in terms of what the next 5 or 6 years after that look like. Plus, we've got Cadillac coming in officially. So tick.
Can we maybe,
That's what I'm excited
not...
That's what I'm excited for.
But you're talking about 26.
No, but I know. But that's what I'm looking for this year. I'm looking forward to seeing...
about 25, season 25.
But that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing who the two drivers are that get the Cadillac scene. Yeah. The driver changes if there's going to be anything.
We'll get to Cadillac.
We'll
get to Cadillac towards the end.
Okay.
What else are you looking forward to for the season 2025? You might have understood what I was talking about.
I did understand what you're saying.
For me, it's the new race calendar. We need Sam back. You've gone real rogue. The new race calendar. So Australia to China to Japan.
Yep. Sure.
Japan early. It's an interesting.
I know.
I like different. It's interesting.
Yeah,
I'll be watching really closely at how that calendar works. We've been calling for it for ages that they go regional, and it's been explained 1,000 times that it doesn't actually work very well.
Yep.
It's not. You're not really saving anything because everyone goes home anyway.
Yep.
And the freight can't make it from one spot to another, so they send all the boats to this area now.
Yeah.
And then they send all the boats to another area. But anyway, it is what it is.
How it doesn't work.
But yeah, so I'm interested. I think we've got 5 races in the first 8 weeks of racing.
Yeah, something like that.
So we've got a jam-packed start of the season, which I love as well. I'm down for that. I think starting the season, great guns will be really interesting. I like that we've tried something different for our races. So that's something I'm quite looking forward to. What else have you got?
Looking forward just to tracking Lewis's first year in a Ferrari. To be
it's exciting,
honest.
Isn't it?
Just that'll be interesting.
Yep. Rookies.
Rookies.
We went from a season of no rookies
to
a season of a heap of rookies. Are you considering Liam Lawson to be a rookie?
Yeah.
Yeah. All these people that talk about him not being a rookie because he's driven.
He did a handful of races.
He hasn't done a season. No. He's a rookie.
We're considering Behrman a rookie, aren't we?
Absolutely, we are.
He finished 7th in a Ferrari. That doesn't mean he's not a rookie.
Absolutely. So, who's your tip to be the top finishing rookie? In terms of championship points?
Probably.
And then who do you think will be the best performing rookie?
Probably Behrman.
You think Behrman's going to outdo Antonelli? You want to say yes, but
I kind of forgot. I actually forgot about Antonelli, to be quite honest. Well, I mean, it's probably going to be Antonelli that's going to be ahead because he's in the Mercedes.
Yeah.
Just naturally. I totally forgot about Antonelli.
I think Antonelli is going to be the top ranked. However, the best performer.
I think Behrman will be the best performing rookie.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. They're quite happy with where Hadjar is at.
Yeah, I think Hadjar will be true.
Which is nice.
I think if I'm going to go top 3 rookies, actually, no. Let me know off the top of my head, I'll order them. I'll go Antonelli, Behrman, Hadjar, Doohan, Bortoletto. We got one more?
So Bortoletto could sneakily be the best, but you just wouldn't know.
No, you won't know,
You wouldn't know because he's just...
Yeah, he's in that... Lawson, sorry. Yeah, you got Lawson in there too, haven't you? Sorry. So Antonelli, Behrman, Lawson, Hadjar. Hadjar ahead of Lawson on performance, I think. Heavily scrutinised, yeah. So Antonelli, Behrman, Hadjar, Lawson, Doohan, Bortoletto. That'll be my just performance-based ranking. Like at the end of the year, if we're going to rank those and say our end-of-season awards or whatever, that's probably where I'd rank them.
Yeah, I'd have Doohan higher up. I think he'll come good. I
don't think he'll do a bad job at all, to be quiet. I was like, he's not raced yet, so...
Yeah. He's generally worked his way into a team.
Yeah.
I mean,
And all these people, they're looking at his last race, which was what? Qatar? No.
Thrown in at Yas Marina.
Yeah, Abu Dhabi. Yep. Thrown in at Abu Dhabi, turned up, and his goal would have been, don't crash it. And then he's got in, and he hasn't crashed it. Like, if anyone out there is looking at that as a sort of litmus test or some sort of indicator of what his race pace is like wrong. Couldn't be more wrong. Won't even be close to that.
There's one thing we haven't talked about enough.
Sure.
Oscar Piastri could be the world champion by the end of the year.
No, very could be.
He's in one of the favourite cars.
Yep.
He has every season made huge improvements.
Yes.
It's something to get a little excited about. It's a little sneaky under the radar here in Australia, I feel. Like, people are coming along, but his quieter nature, which he's starting to show a little bit. He's not quite as cheeky as Dan. But his quieter nature sort of hasn't meant that everyone's caught on. You watch this week, though, people will start talking it up. But there's a real possibility of him being in the World Championship at least. So I'm really excited to see that. Anything else that you're really looking forward to?
No. That's about it, really.
Yep.
Just the racing.
Yep, absolutely. Who's your predicted world champion?
Who's my world champion? I think Max.
Whoa!
Yeah.
For a team that finishes third in the World Championship, you still think he's going to get... That's a great season.
Yeah.
That's a great season of racing, and it could very well happen.
Because when I think about that, I think to myself, what has he done wrong in the last 4 years?
What reason do you have
what reason,
not to
what
back him?
indicator in the last 4 years do you have that suggests that he very much won't start favourite on Thursday afternoon?
And I'm not convinced. I think they're going to have to do the opposite. I think they're going to have to get through the first few races this season and then come home. But he's done that before.
I'm not buying the comment around him that they're not in the fight for Melbourne's win. Yeah. A la Bottas 19 or whatever when we were there.
That's an easy comment to make, isn't it?
Yeah. And I just think, exactly that. Like, look at last year.
Oh, I'm with you.
Halfway through the year, just every race on the bounce.
Yeah.
And then when it mattered in Brazil, when it really mattered the most, just pulled out one of the greatest Max Verstappen drives ever.
Write him off at your peril.
And then just went bang, bang. And the gap was, what was it, 80 odd by the end of it.
Yep.
And then made everyone look stupid.
Yep.
Every single person up and down that were just going, this is going to be close. It's going to be a couple of points here or there. Nah, wasn't even remotely close in the end of it. So, yeah. And I mean, like, being a Max fan, I just think it would be an exceptional title to win too, knowing that you've got the McLarens who are on pace. You got the Ferrari that's on pace. You got Lewis in a Ferrari now. So, like, Max v. Lewis in a Ferrari. Like, how good would that be going back to 21? Like, I'm ready to revisit that kind of racing again. You know, we needed a break from it at the end of 21. I'm so ready to revisit it.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I just think, wouldn't that be to beat off all of them and then plus also demolish his teammate, which he will, and then to win it when you've actually got, 5 or 6 coming at you as opposed to 1 or none, which is what he's had. Like, he had Lewis and then he had no one after that. But there, to fight off that many, like, would that not be a spectacular title to win?
Could not agree more. It would be
just
wonderful.
To put it to
be impressive.
3 teams and 5 or 6 drivers.
Yep.
I just think that'd be awesome. So I don't know, just Max.
I think it's a really good call. It's not a call that many people are making. This time last year, we barely had this conversation.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the world championship? It's Max.
I think we talked about it being 24,
and so then
24
we're like,
rounds of Max.
Who's the best? Who's the next best? And it's just great that we're having a conversation and that you could go through it like that. For me, I like the Max call, but I'm hoping that this season's going to mean that there's enough drivers in amongst it that it could be anyone. I'd probably discount Kimi. I don't think George has got what it takes.
Yeah.
But I honestly feel like there's 5 drivers that could win this world championship.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised by any of them. My prediction, I want to say Oscar. I feel like Oscar's just that calculated. I feel like he might just... Everyone's talking up Norris, and for great reason. Norris had a great season. I think he's going to be so much better for it, and I'll probably actually tip Norris.
Sure.
But Oscar, I feel like, is just that sneaky, calculated customer that might be able to just get the job done quietly.
Yeah.
When there's a big fight for podiums and for wins with Ferrari, with Mercedes, with Red Bull, I feel like he might be able to just get that job done on the side while everyone else is going for it. But my prediction, I think Norris has done enough where he's strong enough to hold off everybody.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see Oscar.
Fair. Fair.
What other predictions you want to make? What race are you looking forward to the most
definitely
this
Melbourne.
year?
Definitely Melbourne.
Let's discount Melbourne. I'm with you. Melbourne, round 1, and the weather's looking pretty decent
nothing
too.
else. There's nothing.
It's exciting. After Melbourne, what's the next?
Melbourne.
What's the next one that you're looking forward to? Is it
literally all eyes on Melbourne?
You are the worst.
Round 1,
I couldn't
ready
agree
to
more.
go. Lewis at Ferrari, monster crowd, fans back on track.
Yes.
Everything else is just the calendar for me.
Give me something else that you're looking forward to.
Just Japan, because I love it because it's early. But I do like it being late.
Be interesting. It can be a little bit. I always thought they had it in its position because of the extra risk of storms.
Well, that's the most stormy. It's literally the most stormy time of the year.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm quite looking forward to Japan being nice and early.
I'm all eyes on Melbourne. Yeah. All eyes on Melbourne.
How are you going to approach this? So usually we have to sort of come in and out of the early time slots. Yep. We do still have to do that a little bit because of the American races towards the end of the year. However, we're going to get a run of decent timings. We start with Australia. Obviously, we're going to be there.
Yeah.
But then China, we're not going to be there for China, unfortunately.
No, we're not.
Or Japan, but they're both
Never been there for those.
Both really interesting times, great times for us.
Early on.
However, it's unusual for us to be watching Formula 1 races at 5 o'clock at home because we've got a family.
That's right.
So, I think we're going to have to come up with a game plan, you and I.
Yes.
Around how we're going to remove ourselves so that we can concentrate properly. But anyway. Good. Anything else for the season that you want to talk about?
No, that's it. I'm keen for racing in Melbourne.
Very good.
That's it.
Before we go.
Yes.
Cadillac have been officially announced by both Formula 1 and the FIA. Yep. Remarkably, they've got it done.
They've got it together.
Who would have thought? My
Fantastic.
golly. Ridiculous that it's taken this long to work it all out.
Yep.
26. It's a big ask to get a whole team together.
Yeah.
I think they've known for the last year that they're pretty much
right.
right.
Yes, absolutely.
They're like, you're not going to talk to us that way, but you will get in.
Yep.
Just be quiet about it. Let us do all the announcing.
Yeah.
You go and prepare yourselves.
Absolutely.
So I think that's been happening behind the scenes. It's going to be a big ask, though, new regulations and all those sorts of things. I'm not even going to ask you how you think they're going to start the season.
Sure.
Who are their drivers?
God, I couldn't tell you.
It's such a hard one,
couldn't tell you. That would be a next week episode sort of thing. I can get a bit of
give me an idea.
Oh,
give me an idea now. I'm not going to hold you to it.
Herder and Bottas.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Perez is the other one that's been mentioned.
Nah.
I tend to agree.
Nah.
It's like a spent force. However,
it's not a team that needs money.
No, but there's also the Mexican side of things. I'm not sure.
Nah, because you want them.
I like
the full American.
Yes, that's right. And so I don't think the South American does too much for it. Could there be a Jack Doohan in the team?
No.
I hope not. I hope he gets a couple of years with Alpine. But if there's crazy things being done at that team, that might be one that just opens a door. He shows enough and opens a door. What about a Mick Schumacher?
No.
Would that be a nice story for that team to start?
No. No, finished. I've finished my love for Mick.
Okay.
Yep.
Out of the sport enough?
Boat sailed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There could be, I mean, the other one, who's the other F2 driver? Drugovic.
Flavio Drugovic.
He's probably the one driver that hasn't had a race seat yet.
No, but then you'd probably want to hang around Aston now that you know Newey's there, so you'd be silly.
Yeah, but where's his seat going to come from?
Don't know.
They're employing Max Verstappen next year.
There's like 8 up for grabs at the end of the year, I think, as I said.
They're employing Verstappen next year. I wonder whether Drugovic might be someone. Do you just employ an American? Last question on it. Do you just employ an American for the sake of employing an American?
Yes, you do.
Do you really?
Yeah, but Herder's also a terrific racing
He's a
prospect.
known quantity.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I think you go for 2 experienced drivers to start with the idea of bringing in your American driver after that. But that would be the way I'd go about it. Rightio. So, we're going to be heading to the Australian Grand Prix. Keep your eye out for the socials because there'll be two things coming your way. We want to know what you want to find out at the Australian Grand Prix this year. We want to know what insights you would like. We'll do our very best to answer those questions to the best of our abilities while we're working for some radio stations, providing some news. But we can sort of do a bit of that on the side as well.
Yeah.
But the second one, you've got to keep your ears out for Fantasy
yes.
F1.
Yes, for people looking, I've been logging in daily, and I can't see it, but it feels late. It feels like we are. Why are we still holding on and waiting for it? I don't know.
I feel like there's two things coming.
It hasn't launched.
So there's F1 Fantasy, the same as last year.
Yep.
And there's F1 Predictor. Now that's never been around before, but if you click on the app, it comes up briefly with those two options, and then it disappears really quick. So they're obviously having some issues with making this app work.
It all says, I've got the F1 Predict here. It says, put your prediction skills to the test in our new free-to-play game, coming soon. Still coming soon. But then the fact that, you got Fantasy still there, it's Tuesday tomorrow. It's Tuesday tomorrow.
Yep.
You're going to need to get your league built, your league filled, and then your team made in 24 hours. It's not. I don't know. It's not enough time.
My prediction is
I'm worried for Fantasy this year.
I think it's going to launch.
Okay.
About the time this episode finishes.
I can guarantee. And this is what happens with our podcasting. We'll be in the car. I'll be on the ride home, and you'll be like, Fantasy open.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always the way. So, I don't know. Keep an eye out.
So what I'm going to suggest is keep an eye out. We probably will get a quick Fantasy episode up maybe Thursday.
Yes.
It should be up by then.
But as soon as you see, keep an eye on socials. As soon as you see the number, jump jump in to our Fantasy.
And then we can't really launch it properly because it hasn't been launched yet.
So,
but we'll
just do everything you can to get in the league as soon as it's up. As soon as we have it. The second we have it, I'll post it almost immediately.
Yep. So keep your eyes out for that one. Yep. We'll have it again this year. It's always been a bit of fun, and then we'll be able to talk Fantasy. We'll talk through our teams hopefully later in the week. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. So two things: what do you want? What insights do you want from the Formula One Grand Prix? And then talk to us about Fantasy once it's up and going. And if this F1 Predictor is looking pretty good, we'll probably be launching an F1 Predictor as well. We'll see how we go.
Yep.
Formula One is back very, very nearly. We are on the cusp of what I think is going to be a ridiculously good season. Yep. There is very little between the top four teams. And so I think that's going to just bite us for some great racing, track-dependent racing, and it's going to be on. And I can't wait for a great season of Formula One again with all the wonderful listeners. Thank you very much for your kind words and support over the little break that we had. And thank you, Tristan.
Yeah, thanks. And we'll catch you guys throughout the week.
We certainly
progressively.
Will. Yeah, we certainly will.
Yep.
But until then, goodbye now.